Hi everyone, so I just deployed the latest version of the EIR CWA-IR tool. So in this tool, the main new update is the integration of MathTypes. So how do MathTypes work, right? So for the sake of this demo, let's just go ahead and click on the first problem set. And okay, so the first problem inside the problem set over here is an open response. So naturally those do not have any common wrong answers or instructional recommendations associated with it. So let's go ahead and click on part 2. So in part 2 over here, if you look at the tiny MCE toolbar, then the first option is a calculator. So when you click on the calculator, it opens the MathType for you. So let's just assume for the sake of this demo that whatever is happening over here is related to quadratic equations, and you were, I don't know, just to be more effective, writing a quadratic equation solution to help out the kid. So let's say you wrote an equation like this. So naturally, once the formula is completed, you basically write the rest of it in the tiny MC itself, where x is variable and EEC are constants. And then whenever you click outside, it saves for you. Right? So how do we visualize this stuff that you have already written getting saved somewhere in the system itself? So these tabs are available to all of the teachers and everyone who has access to the EIR CWA tool itself, but these two are only available to our coaches, Tina and Hillary, and other developers who are basically helping us develop the tool itself. So if I were a reviewer and then came in and tried to look at the content that I had just written down, then because I'm using the yourname account over here, I would have to pick the yourname user. And once I do that, because we worked on the first lesson, right? So we open that up. And then when I look at the part 2, naturally over here the equation is already there. It says x equals to minus a plus minus b, whatever the equation is, and it also says x is a variable and a, b, c are constants. So now we already know that the equation is incorrect. So say if I were someone who was a coach, and let's say I'm trying to channel some of our little folk over here, then this is how I would probably go about doing it. So first I need to fill it in with the right equation. So I would probably write the correct equation first off. So it would be minus b b squared plus minus, I clearly picked the wrong equation because this equation is too long, at least when it comes to typing it, right? And I mean, if it were probably Hillary or Tina who were writing this, then they would probably write some feedback text as well. So it would probably look something like this. Equation for the correct and when I click outside, it saves. And no, it might totally be that because x has two different values depending upon how the solution works. So the wording and the grammar might be wrong over here. It might be the correct solutions for the quadratic equation is, but let's just assume that the grammar is correct for now. And when I click on this, and then when I go back to the content that I had previously written, and this of course is something that US teachers would naturally do, And when you revisit the common wrong answer feedbacks that you had already written in the past, then now you can see that right below the common wrong answer feedback that you had written, there is a feedback message or a comment from one of the reviewers. These people generally are Tina and Hillary for now, but eventually there might be other people who might be brought into the loop to write comments on the common wrong answer feedbacks and instructional recommendations that you guys come up with as well. So over here, the comment says, remember that the correct solution for the quadratic equation is x equals to blah 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 blah. So now you as a teacher would look at this and go, oh shoot, I accidentally put in the wrong formula. So you basically correct it, and once you do OK, then it's there, and when you click outside it saves, so you are all set. Alright, so that technically is the gist of how to use the tool itself. And before we end the demo itself, there are a few things that we would like to bring up as things that you should not do while using the MathType. So say over here, I could also have done something like this: a equals to constants, right? Instead of writing it below over here, I can technically write it as part of the MathType as well. So we strongly discourage writing it as part of the MathType, because over here it looks completely fine, but when you go into the review section and when the reviewer looks at your stuff, it looks a little funny. So the problem now is, because when the MathType is getting parsed by our encoder, it goes in, it basically goes through the whole thing and tries to figure out things, and because constant within the word has the expression tan, and because we are trying to look for math expressions within the formula body itself, so instead of assuming it's a equals to constants, it naturally assumes that tan is a math expression, so it breaks it down. So now it looks a equals to con s tan ts, right? So just to avoid these situations, we strongly recommend only writing the equations within the MathType and writing all the text associated with the equations as part of the tiny MCE. Apart from that, we should be able to adapt to anything and everything you throw at it. Feel free to go ahead and play with it. If there are any bugs, then we'd love for you to capture a screenshot and send it our way. Apart from that, best of luck writing common wrong answer feedbacks and instructional recommendations.